Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe, and in today's video we're doing something a little bit different because I'm not going to do a full-on review of any of the figures that you see here. This video is basically going to be just you and me hanging out talking about Mythic Legions because I just got into this line maybe about 3 months ago, and this is pretty much my whole collection so far. I do plan on picking up more because these things are incredible, but all of these figures are kind of old, so I kind of felt like what would be the point of me reviewing them? You know, I'm sure everybody who's interested in these figures have already seen a bunch of reviews, so I just didn't know how helpful a review from me would be, but I do want to talk about them, so I figured let's put them all in one video, hang out, and talk about it. But before we get into it, I do want to say I'm not going to go in depth as I usually do on a review. This is basically just going to be like an overview of these figures that I have here, and like I said, just hanging out talking about how cool these things are. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start this off at the same place that I started off with this line, and that would be with this guy. And this is a character that goes by the name of Warrior, and as you can see, he's a warrior that's also a wild boar. It's kind of silly, but it works. But yeah, man, look at this thing. This is such a beautiful figure. The sculpting work is so nice on this guy, and the one thing that really sold me on these figures is being able to handle them and play with them because they feel so good in hand. And I got this guy at Designer Con in November, and they had a couple of figures out on display, and you were able to pick them up and mess with them, and doing that is really what made me want to get one of them. And the first one I was interested in was actually a different character that I have back there, and we'll get into that in just a second. But that figure was snatched up real quick, and I had to get this guy. But I don't want to make it sound like I settled for him because I had my eye on this guy too, because it's just a beautiful looking figure. And once I opened it, I was just impressed, man. It's so nice, and the articulation is pretty good on him. It doesn't have as much articulation as other action figure lines in this scale, but he has enough going on, especially for a boar character that has a bunch of armor pieces. I think that he gets enough movement, and you could get him into some pretty cool poses. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with the articulation. Of course, more would be better, but I could get him into all the poses that I want to get him into, so it's really cool. And the highlight about these figures is the sculpting work, and man, the sculpting work is just insane on these things. This guy, I mean, obviously it's like a fictional character, but it looks like an actual boar, you know. It looks like an actual real life boar dressed up in armor, so that is just really cool. And just check out the armor details. And a lot of these guys have reused pieces, but they find clever ways to reuse them. Like, as you can see, it looks like Warrior and this guy back here, I believe you pronounce his name Balaam, I'm not even sure if that's right, but they both share the same torso area, but they do enough to it to make it feel different. So it's really cool. And it's crazy because these figures are like different sizes, but it still works. But yeah, just check this thing out, man. This is a beautiful figure. I love the sculpting work, and then I love how it has like that glimmer in the eye to make it look more realistic. All this armor looks awesome, and all these pieces are removable if you want. I love the way that they have the armor on the shoulders. It just connects in the back. There's a little peg in there, and you just stick it in there, and then it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't peg in the front at all, so it doesn't hinder the arm very much. Check that out. So that is really cool. Then you have a cool little torso joint here that has like it's like on a ball joint, so you have a swivel, you go side to side, all that cool stuff. But yeah, man, I love this figure, and opening this guy really sold me on this line. It made me want to get some more Mythic Legions like right away. So this is a really good one. And as far as accessories go, he does come with this big huge hammer, which is nice. And again, just like the figure, it has a lot of really good detail. And then he also came with this here. This is a really cool looking weapon. It looks like he could, you know, do some damage with that. So that is awesome. And he has no problem holding it. So yeah, this is a really nice figure, and like I said, he's the one that kind of just sold me on this whole line. Once I opened this figure, I couldn't put it down. I think I took it with me to Disneyland. I was like walking around with it, messing with it, taking pictures of it like on rocks and stuff. And then next up, we have a Shadow Elf Warrior, and let's take a look at this guy. Once again, this is another beautiful looking figure, and I'd have to say that Mythic Legions figures are probably some of the most photogenic action figures that you'll see. This guy is no exception, so let's check him out. I love the paint job on the skin. It looks nice and blue and solid and dark. It looks awesome. I love the way that the eyes look and the armor. All of this just looks beautiful. Look at that. And there's a lot of details on these guys. Check out like the chainmail here in the underarm. And I think that they've used this body quite a bit. I feel like on some of the knights that I've seen online, they have like a similar body or pretty much the same torso area. And then I think the vampires that they have also have the same body. But once again, you know, they do a good job of adding enough to it to make it look and feel different. And for this guy, Aside from this weapon here, he also comes with a shield, which is really cool. Has like a metallic look to the blue, and then right here just kind of looks like wood. You have a handle here that he could grip onto. He has no problem holding on to that, so that's nice. And then I think he also comes with this sword. I don't know, I kind of have a pile of Mythic Legions accessories here, but I think this came with him. I don't know, but yeah, this all looks really good. And then he has an alternate head, which is pretty awesome, and it's more like a kind of like a warrior. This guy would look really cool if you had like 4 or 5 of them behind, you know, one of these or something like that. I don't know, you could do some really cool stuff. There's a lot of army building capabilities with all these different figures, especially when you do something like this that covers the face. So that is really, really dope. And the articulation on this guy is really good too. It's a little bit better than Warrior because he's a little thinner and there's just a lot more you could do with him. The armor doesn't get in the way as much. But yeah, this is a really nice figure. And this guy I got from Empire Toy Shop. I'll leave a link to their store in the description below. Be sure to check them out. Huge shout out to them for getting this figure to me. And this is just a really, really nice figure. And I would like to get a couple more of these. There was another Dark Elf that I saw that had a bow and arrow and like a soft goods like tunic thing that looked really cool. I gotta come back around and get that one because I think they would look awesome together. And I'm pretty sure he had like the same armor and everything too, but I'm okay with that. I think the armor looks incredible. There's a lot of really nice details. Check out like the straps and stuff right here. You know, let's go ahead and talk about his articulation real quick. A lot of these figures have the exact same articulation setup, so we'll just talk about it with him. But it's basically, it has really good articulation, but there's some, you know, things that kind of feel old. Like they have single jointed elbows, but they get pretty good range, so you know, it's not a huge complaint. And they all have armor, so you know, it's kind of like forgivable because how much range would you get in armor anyways, so that's okay. And they don't have ball jointed shoulders, but they still get pretty good range on them. And for the torsos, they have like a mid torso cut, which is nice. And then there's also a waist cut, and you get a lot of movement out of those too. And then for the legs, what do we have here? I don't know, these hips are kind of iffy, but I mean they work, and most of they don't look very good, but they are covered most of the time anyways, so there you go. And then you have single jointed knees too. And then for the feet, you have a swivel and a rocking ankle and a foot that goes up and down. So I would say that articulation isn't necessarily their strong point. I think they're more focused on sculpt and just making these beautiful looking figures that look awesome in pictures. I mean, they are fun to mess around with, you know, you could do some cool stuff with them, but when you're messing with them, there's definitely some setbacks that you could tell when you're playing with it, you know. But I just don't think that's necessarily their goal. They're not Spider-Man figures, so it's not like they need a crazy amount of articulation. And even though some of the articulation feels old and outdated, I feel like the sculpt and the detail and how nice these figures look kind of make up for some of the setbacks. So you know, I'm not too mad about the articulation at all. I do wish there was a little bit more going on, but if they decide to never change that, I'd be fine with it, and I'd probably still buy a bunch more of these, so I'm okay with it. And then next up we have Purplore, and I'm not going to talk about him too much because I did do a full-on review of this guy because I think that he's the most recent release out of all these figures, and I found him at a toy show a few months ago, did a review. So go ahead and check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But this is a really nice figure. He came with 2 different heads. You've got the cat look and then the ogre look. And I just really like how they did this because you could remove the head, remove the shoulder pieces, stick on the ogre head. And look at that, it's like a whole new figure. So that is super dope. That's so cool. There's a lot of customizing possibilities with all these figures. You could do all kinds of different head swaps and all kinds of cool stuff. But you know, I leave Purplore displayed like this because it's a big purple cat, and that is awesome. If you want to know more about this figure, go check out my review. Like I said, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And next up we have this beast of a figure, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. He has a crazy ass name that I can't say, so he's just a big crazy looking ogre, and I think this is awesome. There's so much you could do with the big generic ogre. You could put him in with your Wonder Woman figures, you could put him in with your Asgard figures, you could have him fight Hercules, and look at that, that's awesome. And just to give you more reference for his size, here he is next to Pizza Spider-Man. You know, we have to throw him in there. And of course I've got his partner, his size comparison partner, Bucky Cap. But yeah, just look how big this ogre guy is. So there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with the character like that. And I also have the Black Knight right here because I feel like he would look cool with your Mythic Legions. But yeah, look how big that Ogre is. So it's really, really cool. And the amount of articulation and details on this thing is insane. Especially, I was really impressed with the articulation in the torso. And that's another big thing that sold me on this line. They actually had this Ogre, or maybe one of the other ones. You know, one of the Ogres on display at Designer Con. And once you pick it up and you see what he could do like in the torso area, it's really, really surprising. Check out the crunch there. I always thought that these Mythic Legions figures had no type of like torso articulation, but look at this. This is really cool. So there's a lot of good stuff you could do with that. There's not much going on with the arms. He does have single jointed elbows, but he does have a swivel there. That's cool. No swivel at the bicep though. But still, I just love the way this torso works. So that's really cool. That's something we've seen a lot on Marvel Legends lately, like the Marvel Legends Doctor Doom figure that just came out has a torso very similar to this, and you could get a lot of good movement out of it. Look at this. So I think it's a very good idea for them to have figures out to get people to play with them, because once you touch them, it's very like it's hard to walk away without buying one, you know. But yeah, this thing is incredible. One thing I don't like about it is this weird you know, like cloth, or it's not cloth, but it's like a hairy like skirt thing, I guess that's the best way to describe it. But this hair was falling all over the place. Look at that. Look how easy it comes off. So that kind of sucks. It was making a mess everywhere when I first opened it. So what I did was I tried to pull off as much as possible, and then I just kind of hope for the best. And yeah, look at that. Just kind of falling out. But still, it looks cool, and I know what they were going for, so that's dope. But yeah, this thing is crazy, man. Check out all the details like on the belt here. All that looks awesome. Look at the details on his like wrist little gauntlet thing. You have like horns sticking out of there. You've got the straps. Really, really nice. And I love the skin tone on this figure too. This is a really cool looking green. I got to get some more ogres. I would love to have like an army of these ogres. If not an army, at least like 2 or 3. That would be cool. And I think they would look super dope fighting against Thor and Better Ray Bill together, teaming up to fight these ogre dudes. Oh, that would be dope. But yeah, man, look at this. I think this is one of the best ones for sure. I really, really like this guy. Okay, so now we're down to one of my favorites out of all these guys, and that would be Balaam. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably wrong, but it's all good. All I know is that it's a big cat dude in crazy armor, so I like it. And I know that he also has like magic elements to his character. I know that there's comic books and stuff that Mythic Legions has like associated with it, but I'm not really sure like if you could buy them everywhere. I haven't really looked into it. The figures do have little bios on the side of the boxes, and I think there's more information on the characters that you could find on the websites, but I just haven't really looked into any of that. But I believe this guy has like magic powers and stuff like that. He's in tune with the animals and all kinds of cool stuff, and he's a cat in armor, so he's dope. And it's purple armor on top of that, so just look at this thing. And this is another figure that really helped sell me on this line, because when I was at Designer Con, this is the first one that they had this there for sale for like 35 bucks, and I picked it up and I was like, man, this thing looks really, really cool. I don't know if I'll have the money by the end of the trip here. So I put it down, and then towards the end of the day, when you know it turned out I didn't buy all the stuff that I thought I was gonna buy, I went back to the table to buy a Mythic Legions figure, and somebody had walked away with this one as I was coming up. So then I had to get the Warrior figure, which I was very happy about, but then I was kind of sad that I missed out on this guy. So you know, I posted on Instagram that I was looking for him, and then my boy D Amazing hit me up as soon as he found one, and he hooked me up with this guy. So shout out to D Amazing. He's always doing cool stuff like that. And yeah, man, he got this guy to me, and he, you know, he didn't overcharge or anything like that. I think he charged me 35 bucks, maybe even less than that, because I think he shipped it for free. D Amazing, you know, that's an awesome dude. He's always looking out for me and doing some cool stuff like that. But anyways, this figure is awesome. I just love this thing. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorites. What's not to love about a big cat in armor with magical powers and crazy swords? And you could do some really good posing with this guy too. Of course, he has a lot of the problems that the other figures have. You know, the armor gets in the way. He has single joints everywhere and stuff like that. But still, for the most part, I think you could get him into some really cool poses. And as far as accessories go, he could come with the weapons that you could see here. And then he also comes with another sword that I have kind of like wedged between his little armor pieces, because he did come with one of these, but I didn't want to put it on there because I felt like it kind of clashed with the armor. So I left that out, put the sword in between his little shoulder pads. And then on top of that stuff, his weapons, he also comes with an alternate head. And look at that, the neck piece comes off. There's all kinds of like customizing potential here. But Let's see. And then you have like a more traditional knight looking guy, like a warrior. But look at that. That is super cool. That's so dope, man. This is such an awesome looking figure. And like I said, it looks like there's a lot of reused parts here, but they do enough to make it interesting and it doesn't feel like you're buying the same figure over and over or anything like that. There we go. That's a cool looking figure. And let's bring out the Black Knight so we can see how he looks next to him. Get his scepter out of his face there. But yeah, look at that. That's cool, man. Could kind of have them hanging out doing their thing. But yeah, the detail on this armor is really nice too. Check out all the different colors and stuff. Got some more like sculpted chainmail under there. I'm always a sucker for sculpted chainmail, whether it's on Legions or Cat, you know what I mean? Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the head sculpt here. Check that out. That looks really, really nice. I'm not sure exactly what kind of animal this is. I know it's not like a tiger. Who knows what it is? I'm not like a expert on big cats or anything like that, but I think this looks cool. The sculpting work is very well done. Once again, it has the shimmer in the eyes that looks amazing. I haven't been able to hang out and take some pictures of this guy yet, but I really look forward to it. I just got to get some cool dioramas that would go good with Mythic Legions. I think that's when they like shine, you know, when you have the appropriate settings. I guess that goes that goes without saying. That's true for every figure, but you know, I just want to get some cool dioramas for some Mythic Legions. I think that'd be awesome, and that's pretty much why I haven't really spent too much time taking pictures of these guys. But yeah, this guy's he looks great, and I'm sure he's gonna be really photogenic. And then last but not least, we have Faunus. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not 100% sure. That would kind of make sense to me because he does remind me of the Faun from the Pan's Labyrinth movie because he's like a weird tree creature. So that's really cool. And just like the other figures, this guy is beautiful. He looks very photogenic. He has like a unique design, and he's just an awesome figure overall. And not only is he an awesome figure, but this guy's special to me because my wife and daughter actually got me this for Christmas. And every year, just like every other man-child out there, I give my wife a long list of action figures that I want to get for Christmas, and then her and my daughter will go through and choose them. And at Christmas time, I was getting all into Mythic Legions, so they chose this one for me, and it's very special to me for that reason. But look how awesome he looks. He's a really good looking figure, and he actually has soft goods. This is the first Mythic Legions figure I saw with soft goods, so I was surprised by that, and it looks very nice, and it blends in well with the rest of the figure. It doesn't look out of place or anything like that. So it's a really nice looking figure, and there are some reused parts here. Let's take a look at some of the reused parts so I can show you what a good job they do. Check out the arms on these two figures. They have the exact same sculpt, but they look very, very different. Same thing with the legs. Let's see if we could get his legs going. Bring his legs out to the side. See, check that out. Aside from the foot, the sculpts are exactly the same, but they do so much with the paint details that, I mean, unless you looked at them close, you wouldn't think that they were the same. So that's really, really cool. But anyways, back to Faunus here. So here, the articulation is pretty good too. It's probably equal to Balaam right there because it shares a lot of the same parts, but he has a lot of stuff going on, so it's kind of hard to articulate him. But it's all good. He's an awesome looking character. And also from what I read about him, he has like magical elements too. And that's very apparent when you look at his scepter here. Look at that. It has like a piece of wood at the end. And that just looks really cool. And this is removable, I think. Yeah, check that out. So just in case you want to put something else on there. But yeah, I like the way that looks a lot. So once again, this is another figure that I just can't wait to take some awesome pictures with. Okay guys, so thank you so much for hanging out with me as I babble on about these Mythic Legions figures. And I know there's not necessarily anything new in this video. All these figures have been out for a couple of years, but they're all new to me. So I wanted to jump on here and share my excitement and just talk about these things because they're awesome. I think Four Horsemen are doing an incredible thing here with Mythic Legions, and they're just so unique and different from everything else out there in this scale. So it's very exciting to get into this line, and I do plan on picking up a bunch more of these. I don't know if I'm going to go all out and buy every single one or try to buy every one or anything like that, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for the ones that catch my interest, and I'm going to pick those up because they're awesome and they look great on the shelf, and you could kind of mix them up with other types of action figures. So there's a lot of cool things and a lot of potential here with this line. So I'm very happy to be into it, and it's very exciting to collect something new. So like I said, I really hope that you enjoyed hanging out talking about these things, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more videos like this because there's a lot of of lines that I get into late, like NECA Predator. That's another line that I wanted to do a video just like this for, and if people are into it, I'm gonna do it because I really like those figures, but you know, I don't think a review for me is justified, but it would still be fun to talk about them. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, just hanging out talking about cool action figures. Maybe I'll do something where I mix up different lines and maybe just talk about random things that I picked up or something like that. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. And before I get out of here, huge shout out to Empire Toy Shop. I got a couple of these figures from them, so be sure to check out their website. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Also, be sure to check them out on Instagram at Toy Fiend. They're always posting crazy stuff. That's an awesome page, so make sure to check all that out. Also, huge shout out to D Amazing for hooking me up with Balaam, and even bigger shout out to my wife and daughter for getting me the tree weirdo, aka Faunus. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you want to support the channel, be sure to use the Amazon links in the description below, or you could buy an Odious head. There's a bunch of different versions. I just posted about this stone face version, which I'm really excited about. I think it looks really cool on the Mezco Lone Roach Gomez figure. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description below. And I think that's it. Thank you so much. Peace.